this, we move to the other segment of the panel discussion, the same topic, digital hospitals of the future, leveraging technologies for patient experience, staff management, transform care delivery, and operations management. And for that, again, we have digital transformation leaders from the hospitals in around Mumbai. Let me invite Dr. Vispi Jokhi, CEO Masina Hospital. If come on stage, please. A huge round of applause for him. Dr. Bharat Jagiasi, Director, Kokilaben, Dhirubhai, Ambani Hospital. Dr. Bharat Jagiasi, Director, Kokilaben, Dhirubhai, Ambani Hospital. So Dr. Bharat Jagiasi, Director, Critical Care, Kokilaben, Mumbai, right? Navi, Mumbai, yes. And Dr. Sandeep Gore, Director, Emergency Medicine, Fortis Hospital. If you can join us, please, on stage. Also, let me invite Mr. Rahul Datta, COO, Fernandez Foundation. Dr. Rahul Datta, CEO, Fernandez Foundation. Dr. Ashutosh Srivastava, Medical Director, Aditya Birla Memorial Hospital. Dr. Ashutosh Srivastava, welcome you, Dr. Ashutosh. And Dr. Squadron Leader Nupur Trivedi, Assistant Director, Medical Services and Medical Superintendent, PD Hinduja Hospital. We welcome you, ma'am. So without taking much time, let me start the session straight away. Let me ask the first question to Dr. Vispi Jokhi, who is the CEO of Masina Hospital. Dr. Vispi, we from morning we touch base upon various aspects of hospital or healthcare infrastructure. But let me ask you about the challenges. What, according to you, are the key challenge or barrier in implementing digital technologies in the hospitals? And how can this challenge be addressed or overcome to attain the desired result? Your thoughts on that, sir?
Yeah, so I have been patiently hearing a lot being talked today. And I have always, while sitting there thinking that there are more challenges than we are all talking of things that will happen, that are happening. But on a day-to-day basis, a hospital like mine, which is a very old hospital, 120 years old with a very old infrastructure, the challenges are humongous. They are not just one or two. They are so many that if I had to talk about them, probably we won't have a lunch today. So there is a big challenge facing all of us, and we are not addressing those challenges. And I think primarily the challenge is, the most important challenge is the data which we are getting. The data itself is not standardized. Everyone has different data sets. We have not even got to the basic level where we can standardize the data and say that, okay, an electronic medical record has to be this way. We don't even implement the ICD code for diagnosis. Even that is not being implemented. So there is a huge challenge. Second challenge is the buy-in from the doctors. The consultant doctors are so varied. There are old timers, there are young people. Young people want to embrace the technology, but at the same time, they want it on their own terms. People don't want to spend time entering digitally anything. People want to, rush from one hospital to another. We don't have full-timer doctors who can, sit and dedicate their work to the hospital. The whole hospital ecosystem is based on consultants who come in. They really don't have that much of stake in the hospital. They think that, okay, I'm going to one hospital, I will do my work and go to the next place. So that is a second challenge. The third challenge is to train our own staff to make sure our staff will buy in. Ultimately, everybody thinks that digitization is dehumanizing healthcare, in the sense there's too much documentation. And many hospitals who go the EMR way, very often the patient thinks that, okay, the nurse is all the time sitting on the computer screen and not looking at me. So that's the challenge. How much of time is spent to, enter the data in the digital format and make it accessible? So there are huge challenges. I think there is, and therefore I think we must think in terms of taking baby steps, not think of high tech too early. Let's think of baby steps. Let us at least make sure that there is a standardization of data. All the data is uniform. Let there be at least some degree of standardization in terms of the HMI systems available in the country. There are HMI systems which are very basic. There are HMI systems which are AI enabled. There are HMI systems which whenever we throw a challenge at them as a clinician, they seem to not have an answer. Like I can give very simple examples. We have 10 types of diets in the hospital. We tell them that okay, and what all the variations I want as coming as a drop-down menu. The HMIS is not able to do it properly. So there are a lot of problems. So I think, and plus the government is not paying so much attention that when you're talking of infrastructure, the things like, doing a fire compliance, doing all these things, the costs are absolutely mind-boggling. And those costs, there's no subsidy, there's no help. We just have to comply and face the consequences. Otherwise, if we don't comply, so that's the way I put it.
Data is the problem and data is the solution as well. So
the things, yeah.
But as you said, there are a lot of challenges are there. Let me ask Dr. Bharat, how do you think that these challenges can be addressed to transform the hospital ecosystem or the infrastructure? Your thoughts on that?
So as we talking about the data, so we have to have the data-driven policies. So when systems, what we are using, for example, the electronic health record, so we need to have the integrated systems. So it's not only about someone entering the data, but something has to be captured from the system as well. So that way, as Sir pointed out, nurses are spending lots of time in entering the data. If there's a capture from the data or from the system itself, then the time of the nurse is saved that way. And this data is now new oil. This is what is being said, and what we are looking into. If you look into the countries like UK has a national biobank, UK biobank, China, and every country is putting it in a different way. That way, India is very fortunate enough to have a 1.4 billion of a population, and it's a varied population. We have different ethnicity, race, culture. So that way, we can have a different data, but what we have to look into the problems what we are facing is there has to be the integrity of the system. Data needs to be the right, and as we have the branch management system and every hospital has its own legacy, and I think Mr. Shinde very rightly pointed it out, the kind of data we are having it, those branch systems are not going to be enough. We need to have the cloud base or the different versions of it. Connectivity needs to be different. We are looking to work that way. And of course, the reluctance of the staff. So I, being the end user, being the clinicians, we always are being given the solution in the end. So we've been told to enter this, and if I have to use a harsh word, we've been forced to enter something. So involvement of the end users, that is nurses, clinicians, should be at the early stages. So even the programs, if you see, 80% of the solutions are right. 20% are wrong, but the thing is someone is not aware about the system. So if some system comes to me all of a sudden and I'm being told 1 month training is there and after 1 month you adopt the system, obviously I'm not going to take it because I'm using 10 years of my brain to write the things. And so in 1 month someone comes and tell me. So if adoption is being planned at the administrative level, it should be put on to the whole system. We are coming up this way and ideas should be taken so that they feel they own the system and then they are there to change it. This is what it is. And obviously the robustness of the cyber security, you follow the blockchain system or whatever. So that way we have to work with the inclusiveness and integrity. As I told, so we come across the electronic health record. So that's by one company, X company. That company will not capture the monitor, which is of the X plus company. So it has to be the open system. So you go for the things which are the open systems, which allow you the scalability and which allows you this integration as well.
Right. A very important part here is that involvement of human resource like doctors and nurses in the early stage of the adoption of technology and not in the later stage. That's also very important what you have raised. Let me ask Dr. Sandeep Gore. We are talking about digital hospitals or the hospitals of the futures. But as Dr. Vispi has also touched base upon in his initial remark, but do we have that kind of trained manpower with us who are equipped in digital skills, or do you think that we have a long way to go?
Yeah, I think healthcare in India has been changing, and we have observed that it is making a difference in patient care. Lots of discussion happened since morning about the administrative aspect, but the clinical aspect I would like to say the data analysis. The data analysis, so we do the digital tracking of the data. For some, I will give example because once we started using this digitalization and digitalized tools, automatically we'll get trained. Once we start, automatically training will happen. Now, the data analytic played big role in emergency care. We monitor door to needle time for all stroke thrombolysis cases. We monitor door to balloon time for all primary angioplasty cases. And the data analysis has given us lots of insight, like a pre-COVID area and post-COVID. So there is 33% rise in acute myocardial infarction in age group of 40 to 50. So like that, many insights we continuously get. Now we have started another one thing is that 5G ambulance, the smart ambulance, where we can see we use the Internet of Things for these things. We can lively see the patient from the ambulance with the monitor, and we can track that thing. At the same time, by sitting at this forum, we can see the which bed what patient is doing. So Internet of Things we started using, and it has made a huge difference. Another thing is that artificial intelligence. We use point of care ultrasound in emergency department. Some machines are empowered with artificial intelligence. They will say the important things. What is if we put the probe ejection fraction? What is the pumping capacity of the heart? What is the hydration status of the heart? So all these things has revolutionized the patient care, and it has improved. And since the medical people are involving this thing now, digitalization, now this smartphone has and laptops and tabs had made a big revolution in digitalization. And I think the young generation is more pro for these things. So I have observed that in my team, the younger people who are coming in the department are rapidly adapting themselves for the digital technologies. I think that we are going very rapidly, and digitalization is imperative in the healthcare sector, and it has potential to bring a big change, which will affect directly patient outcomes.
Right, right, right. Thank you so much, Dr. Sandeep. Let me ask Mr. Rahul Datta, CEO of Fernandez Foundation. Mr. Rahul, uh, you heard Dr. Sandeep as well. But if I may ask you that, in terms of enhancing digital literacy among professionals, do you think that education institutions, government, hospital stakeholders, and industry, most importantly, industry also, they should all come together and brainstorm and make that future road path? Do you think that is the need of the hour? Because if forget about healthcare sector, the biggest problem of India today is that employable skilled workforce. That is a huge problem. That encompasses healthcare as well. And when you talk about niche segment like health tech, you need skilled workforce. So do you think the time has come that all stakeholders should come together and ensure that that is happening on ground?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Souvik and APAC team, for this opportunity. I think what you are raising as a point, Souvik, is probably we need to look at all coming together, definitely for sure. But at the same time, we need to, I believe that we need to make our houses in order first as well. Like Dr. Vispi said, that there are challenges which is there. What is the level of our awareness within our own staff, within our own doctors? What is the culture that we're looking at in an organization? What is the intent from, like Dr. Clive said, what is the intent from the stakeholders of the organization's buy-in, whether the users or at the management level? Once we have these things in place, we should be able to drive it, because while I understand that we need to treat carefully in terms of taking baby steps, but at the same time, we have to see that last 3-4 years, especially after COVID, digitization is rapidly moving, and technology, also after we see ChatGPT, AI, and so many things coming up, is rapidly moving. And the only, I would say, irony is that in our healthcare industry is that probably we need to move faster, I believe, compared to what we see in insurance and BFSI industries as well. So compared to those aspects, in our healthcare sector delivery, we can work on that. And then, as we're talking about ABDM, as we're talking about government also pushing for data repository, we're talking about keeping one health data everywhere. So all these things would push us somewhere that we work together. Within the organization, it's very, very important that we understand of creating digital literacy among all stakeholders. If we look at even, for example, in our hospitals also, we have actually removed all registers from even the most under-educated, if I may say this way, security department, transport department. They use tabs. And it is possible if the intent is there, if we push towards that way. And these all are requirements. So we talked about maintenance department because electricity, energy conservation. So those cadre is also included, as well as nurses, doctors. So there is no stakeholder which is actually left out, where the emphasis has to go of coming together in terms of training. And more importantly, government and other private institutions can come up with actually defining courses for non-technological or non-technical person to actually create more awareness and have certified or certification courses.
Right, right. Thank you. Thank you. Very important point you have raised, Mr. Rahul. Let me ask Dr. Ashutosh Srivastava, Medical Director, Aditya Birla Memorial Hospital. Dr. Ashutosh, what according to you is the uh, future of digital hospital in India? The, where do you see India going 5 years down the line? Your thoughts on that?
Uh, Actually, everyone has spoken about the digitalization. Nothing left for me.
No, I'm asking that your thoughts that you must be having something else in mind, that you must be thinking that no, these are the challenges which we should address first, or do you think now India is doing well and they're in the right track? So that's why I'm asking you that.
So now with digitalization, we have to draw the boundaries. Actually, now, for example, I am practicing in Maharashtra. I am registered with Maharashtra Medical Council. But if someone wants to take opinion from me, then he can, with digitalization, he can take a second opinion from anywhere from India. So we have to think about these boundaries also. And secondly, for example, any medical practitioner wants to take pictures, then they have to take the consent. Like for radiology, for means you take the this organs or cavities or tissues, you have to take consent for everything. But when the patient takes picture, they take pictures of the body parts. So anything which is taken picture, which has been taken picture, it becomes part of medical records. So when a medical professional is doing something, then they have to take the consent. But when someone else is doing something for the medical record, then they don't have to take the consent. There are certain gaps in the system which we have to think.
It's a
And we
very
have to
important gap itself that
Yeah.
that needs to be addressed. Uh, uh, we have with us Dr. Squadron Leader Nupur Trivedi, Assistant Director, Medical Services and Medical Superintendent of PD Hinduja Hospitals. Ma'am, if I may ask you that, what is your tech vision for the overall transformation of hospitals vis-a-vis if you talk about the patient safety, cyber security, energy management? So your thoughts on that, that what needs to be done more?
All very happy to be here and thank you for the same. Yes, the topic is the digital hospital of the future, but I would like to take a page out of the past where I was part of such a digital hospital. Albeit there were, of course, challenges, there were gaps, there were various concerns. But in this particular hospital, everything was digitized. So if I would, as a medical administrator, ask for a patient file, I would get file with exactly 2 to 3 pages, because these will be the consents which are medico legal and therefore need to be printed and signed and kept in the file. Rest everything from the registration to the OPD management to the IPDs to the OTs to any other service of the hospital within the hospital, everything was on the system. And therefore, it was not only very surprising, but very pleasurable to see the doctors of that particular chain of hospitals. They had around 12 hospitals, and every doctor, every nurse, every junior doctor, every executive was using the platform. And yes, they would come to us by saying that so and so particular aspect is not there. But this system was developed based on every standard or objective of the NABH or the JCI. Therefore, it took care of everything from the aspect of patient safety, from the aspect of monitoring the clinical quality in this hospital. The data which we collected and which we could analyze month on month gave us a lot of insights and made the decisions very way ahead of being right and patient centric. So yes, if they could do it, definitely in the future any hospital can do it. It's just a matter of adoption, and the adoption will only come, which I believe will come, if we start training these doctors in the medical colleges. We have to have the medical collegist online. Everything starts from there. And the adoption, why in this particular organization was better, because yes, many of the doctors had returned back from either UK, US, Australia, had used those systems, and therefore the adoption was much better. For the doctors who were totally educated and trained in India, it was difficult. And therefore, they always asked for some physician assistant or some clerk or somebody to put their entries and orders into the system. But gradually, everyone had to get trained. And so I believe the training, which has to start at the medical college level, and that will only improve the adoption. The other very important aspect is, if cricket can use predictive analysis, why are we not using it? I think we have so much of data already collected, whether in digital form or non-digital form, but we are just not using this data for our decisions. We need to start doing that. And fast track to future hospital would be definitely based on this skeleton of the HIS, the EMRs, which we already have in the market, and people are using it in various hospitals, would be to enhance patient experience through augmented reality, which is creating these smart rooms, the smart beds, which we are talking about, the immersive technology, which enhances patient experience, which gives so much of, relieves so much of anxiety of, say, a chemotherapy patient, a pediatric patient going through a procedure. These immersive technologies will bring in so much of sense of peace and being able to go through a procedure. The smart rooms will enable the doctor to go for their rounds, immediately put their orders and instructions there itself in the room, thereby reducing the time that they will take to go to a nurse station, put it on the system, or the nurse doing it inside the room, and everything just following, because it would flow through the ecosystem.
Right. Very important points raised by you, ma'am, but I'm afraid that we're running short of time, so I won't take any more time for the panel discussion. If you have any questions, we can take off the line during the lunch break also. So thank you so much. Can we have a huge round of applause for all of our esteemed speakers for this panel discussion on digital hospitals of the future. I can thank Dr. Vispi Jokhi, Dr. Bharat Jagiasi, Dr. Sandeep Gore, Rahul Datta, Dr. Ashutosh Srivastava, and Dr. Squared Leader Nupur Trivedi. Thank you so much for joining us today. Can we have a group photo of all the speakers together? Now you can join us, and then we'll start the felicitation ceremony of our eminent speakers who have been part of APAC HealthTech Innovation Conclave for last 2-3 hours with us. We thank all of you for joining us.